The Marine Corps has ordered a 2-day pause in flight operations following a mishap involving an F-35 fighter jet. The plane went missing after the pilot ejected over Charleston, South Carolina on Sunday. The debris field was found Monday about 60 miles northeast. David Martin has the latest on the investigation from the Pentagon.
It took nearly 28 hours to find it, but crews finally started picking up the pieces from the crash of one of this country's most sophisticated jet fighters.
And I heard a boom.
I mean, it's scary to think that something landed that close to our house.
The pilot of the Marine F-35 ejected Sunday afternoon, just a mile from the Charleston airport. But the plane went missing, forcing the military to tweet out an appeal for any information on its whereabouts.
How does it just disappear, and how does the Pentagon ask for the public's help in finding it? It's just a huge embarrassment.
The plane was one of 2 F-35s flying at 1,000 feet as they came in to land, when something went wrong.
F-35, are you on this frequency?
The pilot who ejected had already been discharged from the hospital by the time the $100 million plane was found 60 miles away.
Ground crews are currently searching it. There's not much of it left.
David Burke is a former F-35 pilot who once commanded the same unit.
It doesn't surprise you that a plane could have an emergency serious enough for the pilot to eject and still be able to fly another 60 miles.
It's a pretty rare event, but as uncommon as it might be, it's a plausible thing.
Even at 1,000 feet?
If the nose was pitched up or moving up, the jet will fly for many miles.
The F-35 is a stealth jet, hard to track, especially because its transponder was off, which is standard procedure in a two-plane formation.
So it's very common in any aircraft for the wingman to secure, meaning to turn off their transponder.
And David Martin joins me now. David, this was extremely unusual. What is supposed to normally happen when a pilot ejects from a plane?
In a normal ejection, the rocket that shoots the pilot and his entire seat out of the cockpit pushes the nose of the plane down, and then the plane fairly quickly, without anybody to fly it, just follows the nose down to the ground. In this case, whether by accident or on purpose, the pilot apparently had his nose either up or level, and that allowed it to keep flying for a considerable amount of time. The plane was in a landing pattern to go into the airport at just 1,000 feet, and it was probably going at about 130 miles an hour. So it flew for about a half an hour after that pilot ejected.
Wow, a half an hour. And then, of course, it was missing for a long while. Were there other planes around that it could have, if there was a second plane around, why couldn't it follow and tell the Marines where it crashed?
Well, it was a two-plane formation, but when your wingman goes down or ejects, your first responsibility is to look for a good chute and then to report an approximate position of where the pilot landed so they can get a search and rescue mission going. And what appears to have happened, we won't know for sure, is that in trying to track the chute, the pilot lost track of that other plane, and all he could do was report its last known course and speed. And if you look at the search patterns of the aircraft that were looking for it, they were all looking in the right direction. They just weren't looking far enough north. They hadn't taken into account that it could fly that long. But still, John, this plane was at 1,000 feet, and I still don't understand why people on the ground didn't report it as soon as they heard the crash, which would have been, sometime Sunday afternoon.
It is a puzzlement at the heart of this, among many questions. David Martin at the Pentagon. Thank you so much, David.
Sure thing.